YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So, while we've got all these sensors kicking about, I'll show you how to use it on a different Flysky controller. So this time we have got the G7P and we're running it with the Wtf Rc P. We've got the CTM01 temp sensor and CVT01 voltage sensor. And this receiver also comes with the external DVB, so I'll show you how to set that up as well. So let's get you in for a close-up look, show you how to plug all this in, show you how to configure it and set alarms. Right, so what we're going to need to do, we've already got this bound, so let's power up the receiver and then turn on this transmitter. And you should see it like the solid straight away. So at the moment we've got us 7.6 volt coming through on as RX, and if we press down to see all as telemetry, we've got a 0 on DVB, we've got a signal and as noise, but that's about it. So let's come off that. So the first sensor you'll probably come to use is the DBV or DVB, whatever, whichever way around it is. I think it's DVB. So we plug that into this top port, and then you can either monitor the LiPo that you're running off, in which case you'd only use positive. So if we connect that, and then what we should be able to do is go into our sensors again, and then you can see as DBV is reading 7.6 volt. You only need to use the positive if you're running it off either the LiPo or battery that's connected directly into your receiver, or if it's your main battery pack that's running your ESC and then into your receiver. As long as whatever battery pack has a connection to receiver, ground will go back through rest up wiring. You only need to use the positive. If you plug the negative into the positive by mistake, you will blow the receiver. So if you're only going to be monitoring whatever battery the vehicle's running off, then just tape that one back and keep the negative pin out of the way. But if you want to monitor an external LiPo, so say you've got a rock crawler and you've got a little LiPo running your lights, then we can plug in both the positive and the negative, because you've got no circuit back to this. It's not in any way going to be powering the receiver. And then we get in 7.2 volt on his external DVB or BBD or whatever it is. But what do we do for sensors? So let's take our temperature sensor. Now this one you're going to want to plug into the top port what says sense. So we'll plug that in, then you'll see straight away you get your LED light up, and if we scroll down to the bottom we've then got as temperature showing, and if I stick my fingers on it, should see temperature start to rise, and then temperature will start to fall. So if you want to then connect a further sensor, and all we have to do with this is plug it into the back of the first sensor, and then you should see the light come on this one as well. So you don't have to do any special configuration. And then if we scroll down further, we've got another external battery monitor. All we have to remember with this one is, unlike the BVD, you do need both connectors in to get your actual correct voltage. If you just plug the positive in, it'll read low. So we need both connected, whether you're running the internal or external battery. Unlike the BVD, you do need to have both connected all the time with the external monitor. So we can monitor the battery running off, or if you've got another battery or power source that you want to keep an eye on, you can connect both of them to that, and then it'll read yet another battery. So at the minute we have got RX voltage, which is what voltage the receiver's getting from this battery. You've then got your BVD voltage, so that's as external one that it's monitoring. We come further down, we've got as external temperature, and we've got another external voltage monitor. So they do come in really useful, but let's have a look. So once we're into the screen where you press down to get to your sensors, you can see everything that you've got reading out. So it's a quick view of every sensor you've got on it. But if we go into the menus, we'll get to somewhere that's a little bit more useful. So now if we go to sensors and click into them, we can set our, basically they'll be off to start with. So you turn them on. Then you can set your alarm to be a low alarm or a high alarm. So you set the upper limit and the lower limit for your alarm. And this is going to be running, so the RX at minute, we're going to be running off a 2S LiPo. So I've got the low alarm to 6.6, 3.3 volt per cell. Let's have a look. So you can also set the TX. So depending on what batteries you've got your transmitter running off, you can set that. You can go to your battery voltage monitor, and again you can set your high point and your low point. So on this one, 2S LiPo, so we'd set that to 6.6 volt, but you can also adjust what voltage the BVD is reading. So if you've got a really sensitive voltmeter, you can calibrate it to be exactly the same reading as what your voltmeter is. Then if we carry on going down, you've got your temperature sensor. So we can set this. So as high temperature, this is going to be the limit of what we want something to hit. And then you also want to set your lower limit. So as long as it's something that it's not likely to hit, it won't trigger it accidentally. So you're fine leaving that at 0. But so if we watch as sensors now, that's the alarm set for the temp sensor. So I've got it set at 30, and if I grab hold of this sensor, so as soon as the temperature starts rising, we start getting an alarm. So as soon as it drops down, it'll give it a few seconds and then the alarm should stop. So there you go. So let's have a look. So if we disconnect one at batteries to simulate a battery going flat, do we get an alarm? Yep. So we'll get an alarm telling us that battery's going flat. And then if we reconnect that, as alarm stops. Now I believe you can only set 4 alarms. So at the minute we've got a bunch of them set. So we've got TX, RX, DVB and temp. But if we go to set another alarm, it'll say only set 4 sensors. So if we didn't want the, let's see if we can turn the TX off and then set external voltage instead. Yeah, we can. So you can only have 4 things that you're monitoring that will trigger an alarm, but you can have a whole bunch of different sensors on it. Not sure what the actual limit is. Suppose it depends how many IDs it can assign, but that's quite a lot of sensors already attached to it. So let's wrap this one up. So there you go, that is the G7P and a whole bunch of sensors all connected up to it. So it's just really handy if you want to have some way of monitoring either your motor or ESC getting to or an external battery that's powering your LEDs, for example, on a rock crawler. But yeah, just really useful. They're not really expensive, these sensors, and they do work with all the rest of Flysky stuff. So if you've got Pros and MB4s and a whole bunch of other transmitters and receivers that Flysky do, these sensors come in really handy. They work with them all and quite easy to set up, and it's useful definitely on if you've got rock crawlers with external batteries, or if you've got bashing vehicles where you're worried if your motor's getting too hot. If you know what the max temp is that the motor should run at, you can just strap one of these sensors to it, set the alarm for whatever degrees it is that you don't want it to go above, and bash away with your car, drive it around, thrash it, and you'll get a warning on your transmitter if you're getting near that limit, which is a lot better than seizing a motor. You can also strap them to the side of your lipos if you want to monitor lipo temps or any other battery temp. Just use a bit of Velcro, fasten them on, and if you get any mass heat build up, you'll get an alarm before your battery sets on fire. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and I'll catch you guys again in the next one.